welcome to episode 59 of Missed Mando, Ontario's source for the latest in the disc golf world. I'm your host, Robbie Holden, joined, as always, by my friend and co-host, Shawnee G, Sean Galbraith. Shawnee G, how you doing? What you been up to since our last episode? We had a little bit of a interview-only episode last time we were on, but we didn't talk about what we've been up to, so it's been a couple weeks since we've recapped what's been going on for us.
It does feel like forever ago. That means this episode is going to be very long. So sorry to our listener. What have I do? I mean, played the Winter Thaw, finished last as always. Ran the Missed Mando Mayhem5, did not play it as always, and it was a miserable time for everybody who was there. So that went exactly how we drew it up. It was fantastic. And getting ready, not this weekend, but next weekend to play the Five Sisters Spring Open. Very excited for that. How about you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, Five Sisters will be a good one. I am bummed I won't be able to make it out for that one this year. I still haven't been out to that course. And of course, it's being put on by a good buddy of mine, Kyle McCutcheon. He's the TD there. So definitely wanted to make it out, but won't be able to, unfortunately. So I'm sure you will have a blast out there. But very similar to you, I played in the Winter Thaw at White Spruce. We'll get into that a little bit later during the recap, when you might hear my name pop up, not in a division that you would expect me to pop up in either during a recap, but we will get to that. And then, of course, we had the weekend after the Winter Thaw was the Missed Mando Mayhem5 out at the Escape Maze Autonomy Disc Golf Course in Peterborough, and that was an absolute blast. We'll chat more about that when we get to the actual recap of it. I did not play either, which I'm thankful for, based on the weather that we had when the round started up. But everybody had a blast out there, so we'll get into that a little bit more. And then I didn't play any more sanctioned tournaments, but I did compete in the final event of the SWO Cup, the Southwestern Ontario Cup. Very similar to the GTA Cup, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of. It's 4 clubs all competing against each other in the way that SWO does it. Is it's 4 rounds of doubles, doing best shot, alt shot, combined score, and then another best shot doubles, and then a final round of singles. And it's match play, not stroke play, which I always love. I love getting to play match play disc golf. I find it so much fun. You can get a little crazier at times, especially if you're playing doubles. You know, you have somebody park a shot, your doubles partner can step up then and go full send, run it, try and throw in ace, or throw in for eagle from the fairway, something like that. So that was a blast. And spoiler alert, things went pretty good for the Guelph Disc Golf Club. But we will get to that when we recap SWO as well. Although, to be honest, I don't have much more to say than I already did, but we will get there. And other than that, that's really been it. This weekend coming up, I am playing in the Stones Throw Spring Open on Saturday, and then the Project 15. I think it's just called the Project 15 Open again. That is going to be on the Sunday, which is going to be a blast. So busy weekend. I'll be staying with a buddy out in Peterborough and hanging out with some other buddies that are heading up that way for the weekend to play P15. So I'm super excited for that. I've said it multiple times, but I love the competition aspect of disc golf, but I love the community aspect, and just driving a couple hours away for a weekend, hanging out with a bunch of buddies, playing some disc golf in there, and then just relaxing and hanging out with everybody. So I am very excited for that. I will also see our currently missing co-host, Galen Naidu-Harris. I will see him at both of the tournaments this weekend, because he is signed up for both of them as well, which is awesome. And even though we are currently missing Galen, we're going to throw it over to him right now, actually, because Galen did a one-on-one interview with our guest tonight. Some scheduling issues amongst the co-hosts. We couldn't all be there together, but we are going to bring on James Atkinson, of course, with Galen, and Admittedly, I have not listened to this yet. I usually will go in and before Sean has edited things, I'll just listen to the raw recording of it just to get a sense of what was talked about. But I haven't yet. So when this episode comes out, I will be fresh like everybody else, listening to the interview for the first time, and I am excited for that. So without further ado, let's throw it on over to James and Galen. We'll be right back on Missed Mando.
Our next and only guest for tonight joined the PDJ in 2023 after playing in 2 events the year before and quickly became a force in the amateur ranks of disc golf with 6 podium finishes in 2023. After securing his first win in MA3 at the first event in 2024, he played an insane 38 more tournaments, mostly across MA2 and MA1, collecting 3 wins at MA2 and 1 in MA1. I'm guessing this is Robbie that wrote this because he says, when he broke my heart in a 1-stroke win at Stones Throw. And 2025 brought another busy season of 32 events, winning 3 in MA1 and getting his first MPO win at the Stones Throw Fall Open. He is now playing full-time in MPO, collecting a win and 2 second-place finishes so far in 2026. It is a pleasure to welcome to the Miss Mando podcast, and his biggest accolade, of course, is being my close personal friend, James Atkinson. James, thank you so much for coming on the podcast tonight.
Thank you. It's an honor, honestly.
As you can see, we came prepared with one co-host. Sean and Robbie bugged off and ditched us, so that's better for us. It's dangerous for them, but it's good for us.
Very dangerous.
It's good to have you, buddy. As we like to do with all of our first-time guests on the podcast, we want to start with throwing it back to the beginning of your disc golf journey. So I know this already, but for the benefit of our listeners, when did you first discover disc golf, and who or what got you introduced to the sport?
I think it was 2021 or 2020. Me and my wife went down, well, wife now, girlfriend at the time, went down to the Yukon, where I'm from, to visit family and introduce her to everybody for the first time. And my brother Philip, he super into it. My brother Daniel. Philip was more into it than Daniel, but he wanted me to come out, and I was like, iffy. But at the time, like, I drank beer and did all that, whatnot, and invited me out. So we went out, had some beers, and threw some frisbees, discs, and instantly loved it. It was a great time. Great time. Honestly, wish I can get back and play those courses again, because I know my whatever plus 40s or whatever would be a lot better now. But
Yeah.
great courses, and just my brother, before I went back home or back to Ontario, he told me to download UDisc and look at all the courses around, and that's what I did. I came back, and it was like winter about the time we got back, where we were leaving the Yukon and it was just snowing. So we came back, I did that, and I was like, okay, well, I gotta still wait till summer again to try that out. I didn't know everybody was still throwing discs and stuff in the winter. But I lived 3 minutes away from King's Forest, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go there. Got a starter pack, spring hit, so I went up to King's Forest, and turns out they closed the week prior to that.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
tragic.
I end up starting at Tiffany Creek, a beginner-friendly course, 9 holes, and then started playing La Fortune, whatever. But that's where I started. I mostly just played by myself, and rest is history.
Yeah, it was actually, and I think probably I've told you this before, and probably I've told the podcast this before, but that was kind of the same thing that happened to me too. For me, it was cousins, not brothers, but I have older cousins. I was like 14 or 15, and they were like, hey, do you want to try this thing called disc golf? And I was like, yeah, sure, sounds awesome. And we got out there, and I realized that was just an excuse for all them to like drink beer and smoke weed and stuff and like hang out in the forest. But I was like, oh, this disc golf thing is kind of fun. And like, I was like 14. I wasn't drinking the beers or smoking the smoke. I was just there to hang out, and I was having a great time. And then I came back to Ontario, because this is out in BC, and this must have been like 2000 and maybe 2010, and like there's no UDisc, or if there was, like I'd never heard of it. Like Google didn't have any disc golf courses listed, and like even Google wasn't like a major thing in like 2009. It was like it existed, but it wasn't to like find places. It was like, you know, if you're searching like, hey, what happens to like a fish in like salt? I don't know, like he'd ask random questions. Like he wouldn't be like, hey, where's this disc golf course? So I got back, and I think I played at maybe Bronte, or it might have been one of the courses out in Guelph, like one of the courses that's been a staple for a long time. And then I was like, oh, it like my dad is taking like 40 minutes to drive me here, and like the same back, and like, you know, I just don't want to put him through that. It's fun, but like I just put the discs in a box, and then I refound disc golf during COVID, and and like same as you, I was like
COVID
getting
players.
involved. Yeah, yeah. COVID players found the community, and it was like the rest is history.
Yeah.
Um,
A funny thing though is I got the full experience with my brother because he took me out during the
yeah,
day, and he's like, "Hey, we're playing in the night too." I was like, "What are you talking about?" They had the whole course lit up with lights and stuff, and it was cool. I didn't play. I went out for the walk, but it was I was like, "Wow, this is amazing." I think right then and there, I was like, "Okay, like this is fun."
yeah. The first glowy round is like a transformative experience.
Yeah.
Uh, do your brothers still play?
I actually sent them a little gift package during the holidays. They got
Ooh,
a few discs. My brother Daniel got a few discs, a couple hats and whatnot, and my brother Philip got some discs for his kids and
nice.
himself. So sent them some stuff. I went
That's awesome.
down.
Well, I mean, I know you got to be the highest rated Atkinson, but good to
Yeah,
know the brothers are still out there throwing.
yeah. They're my mother's side, so they're different last name, but yeah,
Yeah.
highest rated
Well,
in the family.
excuse
So
me, highest rated of the brothers anyway.
yeah,
But hey, disc golf in Yukon. In the Yukon, I sorry if my nomenclature is off. Disc golf up north. Um, I think I may know the answer to this question, but I'm trying to remember. Have you been back to play at all? I know you were talking about getting out this summer if you could, and I don't think it's coming together, but since you were introduced, have you been back at all?
no, I
No.
definitely want to though. Like again, as I said before, I definitely want to go back and shred those courses. Seen the larger than life coverage from 2 years ago, and man, I want to go back. Those look like at the time I didn't really care what the courses look like or not. I was just throwing, but they look amazing, and I want to go back and try it.
Yeah, yeah, the exact same experience. I went back like 2 summers ago to BC and played. It's called Cooper's Hawk out on Vancouver Island, which is that course that I first learned about disc golf on. And I was like, oh my God, it's just so much fun to like go back, and it's like this is where it started
Yeah.
type thing. Yeah, it's cool. So what are you looking forward to? Like, it's not, you know, in the imminent future, unfortunately, but someday you're gonna get back to play, and you want to shred, you want to, you know, push the course, or maybe the course record, but push your record on the course.
Yeah.
What else are you looking forward to when you get to play up there? Anything about the courses specifically, the culture?
Mm, honestly, the one thing that I've always really wanted to, I don't know if there's an official record, but I don't know if you know that in the Yukon we got the midnight sun. So daylight all 24 hours. So I think one of the things I do really want to do before I get too old and get tired easily, is try to push, if there is a record, the most disc golf in 24 hours. Yeah.
Be awesome. Yeah, because you wouldn't have to worry about glowing a course up or
No,
anything.
no.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
very jealous of, well, actually, I don't know if I would say jealous, but jealous of perhaps the opportunity to do a little midnight sunning.
Yeah. Definitely one of the things on my bucket list is that. And then just getting out and actually meeting the people in the community, the disc golf community down there. I'm in the group, like the page or whatever in the Yukon, and
Yep.
they all seem friendly. Like all disc golfers are, really, to be honest. So,
Yeah, that's my
and
favorite part about disc golf too.
and then just playing events and whatnot. I do
Yeah,
want to get
and
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was totally. That's exactly where I was going to sort of transition to is kind of from what you enjoyed there to sort of like the contrast. I mean, the culture is great everywhere. like, I mean, I guess when you first started, you didn't play a ton up there, but I guess now you would have a little bit of something to compare it to. Anything that you would sort of use to draw like a little bit of a difference or something, like it doesn't have to be better or worse, but any differences that you can maybe key in on between disc golf here versus up there? Like, are the courses like vastly different? Anything about the culture that even though you weren't super exposed that you might pick out as being a little different from down here in the GTA?
Well, not too much. I know there's definitely a lot of elevation. For the most part, it's all wooded courses. They do have, I think it's their number one course in the Yukon is the um m- something Meadows. It's on a golf course that they use for tournament play. And that looks like a beautiful course. I want to try that. But other than that, wasn't like too. Again, this was my first time ever playing, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know the people, but they all. It's about like yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back on with Sean and Robbie once you've gone back up north and you get to play up there
Yes,
and ask you more about it.
100%.
Um, so in 2023, we're going to throw it back to your disc golf journey and starting to play in Ontario. You continued to play MA3 despite event averages of 888, 903, 904, 935. In 2024, you logged event averages as high as 944, 945 twice, 949, 956,
In your private?
959, 968, all while playing MA2. So I'm just wondering, how does it feel to be one of the greatest sandbaggers the province of Ontario has ever seen?
Hey, I won the MN3.
That's a
was
celebrity question from a disc golf group you and I are both part of.
I won my MA3. I moved up. I won MA2 about what 2-3 times, and then I was dipping my toes in MA1. I played. I think my first ever event in MA1 was the Toronto Island, and I was doing really good. I was surprised. I think I was tied for first in the first round with Callan Chat, and at the time I didn't really know who he was, but I seen his PGA because I do creep in when it comes to events. I creep you guys. I creep all the players. I want to see what they do, what like their highest rated rounds on what courses are, what their lowest rated rounds. I want to know the strengths and their weaknesses. So he was the one I creeped, and I was seeing that he played a lot of MPO. And I was like, I was pretty proud. That was awesome. And then I think I dropped down to fourth after that. And then after that, like I was pretty happy with myself. I played a couple more MA1s, and it was I was really I was humbled. I quickly found out that getting a win in MA1 wasn't going to be easy. I shot some terrible rounds after, but so I stuck in MA2 for a bit. And
Yeah, no, just a little friendly ribbon here, a little teasing, but honestly though, you've gotten better faster than almost anybody that I know. I know a massive part of it is just getting your reps in. You spend like a ridiculous amount of time playing disc golf, field work, like thinking the game. And so I was curious for our listeners, single listener actually, as we always say on the pod, one listener. What else has helped you in your journey, becoming a better disc golfer, elevating your game from like an MA3 scrub to, I would say, one of the better disc golfers in the province, besides, obviously, your lovely wife, Alexis Atkinson, who you should credit all of your success to. Besides Alexis, besides practice, those MA3 scrubs that are still out there, what do they got to do to throw like you?
mental game. Work on that mental game. It's like I don't know. It's got a
So,
lot
so
to do with
what
your
does that
mental
look
game.
like for you? Is that, thinking through a course in your mind, what shots you're going to throw? Is it internalizing different things about how you're going to play? Like, what does mental game mean to you?
Oh, well, visualization is very good. But that's self-talk. I think a lot of players have bad self-talk with themselves. I see it in the MPO, I see it in every division I've played that they just put themselves down. And I've done it. I've had a very weak um, mental game, and working on that has really helped me move up divisions. Just, yeah, really hard on myself. I just, bad self-talk was always, like, if I missed a putt 5 foot, it was getting very, very in my head, and like, you're an idiot, whatnot, and I hear people say that all the time. But now it's more like, okay, well, like, what did I do wrong there? Like, I missed a little low. It was still a good putt. I misread the wind or something, tried to limit the self-talk and like degrading yourself and whatnot. I think that's got a lot to do with it, because internally you're gonna be scared of yourself now, because like, if I said that to you, you wouldn't like that, right? You would probably punch me out.
I'd be like, fuck off.
Right? Yeah. So you wouldn't say that to somebody else. So like, when you're saying it to yourself, it's gonna hurt, and you're not gonna want to feel that way and whatnot. So I think when that happens and you start fearing yourself and whatnot, you play more timid and not as confident, and then it's just the downhill spiral from there, honestly. I think mental game is definitely one of the bigger things in disc golf and golf and a lot of sports, honestly. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, totally. And I think it's sometimes it's hard to like escape the impulse. Like when you're playing on a card and like you mess something up, like even if you're just being sort of like you're just saying it in like a teasing way to yourself, it's hard to, like if you like hit the first available, it's like, oh, I'm such an idiot, or like of course
Yeah.
I hit that, or like, oh, I knew I can't putt when you like put something off the bottom of the basket or
Yeah.
something. But yeah, no, that's a good comment, because I think it's easy to like escape into giving yourself crap, whether it's like legitimate and you're like actually having this negative self-talk, or like pushing it off and just being like, rather than being like, oh, okay, so next time I'll put that higher, you're like, oh, what an idiot I am.
Yeah.
So that's a good comment. And speaking of putting, one of the other things that I was going to key in on is like from very early, I like you have been one of the best putters I've seen in disc golf, and I mean that genuinely.
Yeah.
Like even when you were playing MA3, I was like, this guy's putting better than most
Thank
of the
you.
pros that I play with, and putting with like a ton of pace, like fearless. Anything that you would share as far as ways that you got better at putting, things that helped your confidence as a putter, any drills, anything like that?
Um, yeah, I don't honestly. I only started accepting the fact that I was a pretty good putter within, I want to say, probably around the beginning of last year. Everybody
Yeah,
kept
so
on saying
way
it.
after the rest of us. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody kept saying it. I was like, yeah, whatever, dude, whatever. And then, yeah, I started moving up division, and I'm like, I am a good putter. And I think that helped a lot too. It was just accepting the fact that I can putt. And I think when I first started putting, I started putting with the Berg. I know you putt with the Berg, but I think, which was weird, because like, I would putt with a normal, like a judge in like C1 at the time. I didn't know what the hell C1 was, but like from C2, I was putting with a Berg, which was ridiculous if you think about it now. So I think that had a lot to do with how many, like, my spin rate on my putts and like whatnot. Other than that, like, just get your reps in, man. Try to get. I. It's so tough. Like, I know everybody's got a life and whatnot. Even if you're just hitting 20 putts a day, that still helps. I try to get at least 100 a day. If not, try to get that 20 at least. If I come home from work late, I'll still go out, put a lamp on or whatever, my basket, and I'll still try to get those putts in. Um,
Yeah, consistency and effort.
I
That's
think
a lot of the time you ask people that are really good at something, you're like, how do you do it really well? And they're like, yeah, I just do it a lot. And I put
yeah,
the time in, I put the effort in, I take it seriously.
I think putting at King's Forest was what really helped me as well, because King's Forest was so windy all the time. I used to be prior to playing King's Forest, like I said before, I tried to play it the first year I started coming or playing disc golf in Ontario. Stay closed, so I was putting at LaFort or playing at LaFortune more, and I had a float putt. And I think transitioning over from a float putt to a spin putt has really helped me as well, because I can still like putt both fairly well, and they come in handy in different situations a lot. I think also just putting, just don't. I would say work on everything. Don't just go at your 25 feet and putt. You know, like getting your straddle, get in your knees, put some objects in your way, putt in the wind. A lot of people like putting indoors. I don't. I will. It's fun, but get those conditions in there as well. You know, you might not like it, but go putt outside when it's raining.
Yeah, it's a good comment. You're hearing the good putters say it, and now you're hearing the crappy putters say it. But like when I do actually take the time to practice, which is not as often as I should, that's exactly how I approach it too. Is like not just putting yourself in one specific situation. Like don't just go to the one line or the one, tile at your course and putt from it. Like straddle putt, putt into a headwind, putt into a tailwind, putt straddling out like on one leg from behind a tree. Like
And you
try a
putts.
couple turbos, like
Mhm.
because it's not always just like a 20-foot, like standstill no wind putt when you're playing in a round. That's not the way disc
There's
golf
almost
works.
never going to be a time like that. Maybe
Yeah,
once or twice around.
totally.
I think that's really what helped me a lot because like moving up divisions, you see it like people MA3s whatnot. I fucking did it. I did it a lot. I would be off the fairway. I'd still have a look or something, but you're never gonna have that putt all the time. So you got
Yeah.
to work on them all.
Yeah,
Mm.
100%. I like that comment about the Berg too, because I did putt with it exclusively for a while, a couple of years back, but these days I only pull it out in like high wind conditions because I know I can trust it to fight that wind better than my average putter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't even think about that till you said it. You got to put so much spin on it and so
Don't.
much power to get it to do the same
Mhm.
thing as your regular putter that, yeah, if you were doing that exclusively for a while, I feel like you'd be training yourself to have really good, powerful spin. So,
I think that's one of the
okay.
reasons why I stayed away from jump putts as well. Like I'm sure there's moments that I would use it. I use it for a straddle, like a straddle jump, because I find it so awkward trying to generate power from distance from a straddle. But I don't stagger stance jump putt because I've putted with the Berg when I was I can get there from 100 feet with just standing. Like maybe a little step putt I've got, but other than that, I don't really jump putt. And I don't know if some of the listeners were at the one of the last putt clubs at the Bronte Club. One of the last putts of the day were um jump putt from like 80 or something. I was the last last teammate on our team trying to hit it because I couldn't do it. I just don't know how. It's so awkward. I practice it once in a while, but I don't find myself ever needing to jump putt. So
That's funny. I can't picture you being the last one to hit a station in a putting league at all. No, but that makes sense
yeah,
because you
I'm
can
gonna
putt for
try
power
someday.
from distance. So like, why would you why would you practice it or use it? Um, so back on track a little bit, your disc golf journey. You've been working your way up, MA3, MA2, some MA1 shots, and now we've got you full time at MPO. You were taking some hits up and down, MPO, MA1 last year. At what point did you decide that you wanted to go pro and push that envelope instead of staying longer in MA1?
I think well, like I got my wins. I got what, three MA1 wins, four maybe. I just don't see like it's not fun. All those MA1 players, they're all great. They all always have like make it a challenge and stuff. But I got my win. We try to get some more wins in MPO. Like that's the last stage I'd like to stay and play. Other than like trying to get A tier win in MA1, I think that would be nice. That would make me feel like I completed MA1. Other than that, everything around here is mostly just C tiers. You get the odd B tier and A tier. So I'm kind of just holding out for those. Other than that, like just gonna stay in MPO and show them there's a new kid in town.
Yeah, I love it. No, I've always found it to be more fun trying to push myself a little bit. Like I'm certainly not hanging an MPO by any stretch, but like I would rather play MA2 certainly than MA3, though I guess I've just barely graduated out of MA3 now anyway. And I'm like starting to take some shots MA1 this year as well, where I'm like, I want to be competitive for a win. That's a big part of what I want to do, but I also want to get better. And if I'm playing against the same players and I'm trying the same stuff, I'm not getting there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of the reason why I want to continue playing MPO is because they're all amazing players, every single one of them. And I want to play against them because I play better when I'm playing with better players. So,
Yeah, I genuinely like I can't think of the last time I played a round with a full-time MPO player and I didn't learn something through that round, a different shot, a little bit of something on form, like mental game, like putting, whatever. Like you got to try to be a sponge, and I find I'm always going out of a round with a really good player thinking more about disc golf and thinking about how do I get to that next level versus if I'm playing with players that are more sort of like in my tier, like more my level, I'm like, okay, this is fun. Like maybe I beat them, maybe I didn't, but like I'm just doing all the same stuff I was before.
Yeah.
And so talk about moving up. No, sorry, go ahead.
Going back to moving out of MA1 is like same reason why I stayed so long in MA3. Like I got so many second places in that year. I was just playing strictly MA3 is because it's MA3 sandbaggers, like so many sandbaggers, honestly. There's players that got their win and I was right there. And they took it away, got another win in MA3. So, like part of that is
there were months there where it was like second, third, playoff, like, oh my gosh. I think there were
6 or 7 events in a row I came second place and just couldn't do it. But going back, like I've got my wins in MA1. Let those other guys get some wins in too. Also, like there's so many good players that have not got a win yet, which is crazy. Like I found out Caden doesn't have a win yet, and he's one of the higher MA1 or rated MA1s, and like that's. Like, let's get him a win, man. I want to see him win. He's such a great player. He's got an arm on him, just a cannon, and just great player, but just couldn't get one yet. So I'm hoping he gets one this year. That'd be awesome to see.
Well, and hey, moving up, you're giving our boy Robbie Holden a chance,
Well, look, he got an MA1 win though. Pretty sure he got an MA1 win already.
Yeah, we've been ribbing him for a while. He's got to move up, and he did play, and he just cashed his first MPO event, so maybe he's got to keep hanging. Yeah, but I forget if it was. I think it was the Melt, the event in Niagara. Was that, or it was Spruce? He played MPO and was the last cash.
I didn't see him in the Melt. Awesome though.
Yeah, I think it was Spruce. I think he just got the last spot. And
he played a pretty good first round, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, makes sense. And so we're talking about moving up. So I played quite a bit of MPO. As I understand it, though, you have not accepted any cash yet, but you've won some. You've had the ability to take cash. Are you refusing it because of, is it the U.S. Am Worlds in Buffalo? Is there a plan to start accepting cash a little later? Like, what's your game plan there?
Yeah, the Amateur Worlds Disc Golf Championships is in Buffalo. And I do want to play that because when I played the last time was in Michigan, like 2 years ago. I was like maybe like middle pack or whatnot, MA2. So like being a pretty better player now, I'd like to see what I can do there. I think I have a good chance to be at the top. I don't want to say win because those are some amazing players that are playing in AM Worlds. Those are the next touring players, But I'd like to see what I can do there. Also, the United States Amateur Disc Golf Championships will be playing at Toboggan. I would like to see what I can do there as well. And nationals. Other than those are like my 3 main MA1s I want to do, but Worlds being a major, I'm not too sure if the United States Amateur Disc Golf Championships is a major as well. It might be, but mostly just for the world. So I want to see what I can do there, and then after that, I'm gonna start accepting cash because I think I've cashed 8 times, 7 times now, and it's getting harder and harder to
to say no.
you know. But like
Yeah.
honestly, I'm not too like as much as the money would be cool, making money playing the thing you love. I'm not there to make money. I'm here to have fun, here to show what I can do, and share memories with all the card mates and whatnot.
My man, that's how that's kind of how this podcast started. Is what's how Robbie always says it. Anyways, he and I wound up on a card at provincials back in 2022 or 2023 with Nate. Is it Nate Thompson? It was another Nate other than the one that you and I know, and not Nate Anderson Renton. But there was just a phenomenal card, the four of us, and Robbie and I just became like really good, really quick friends. And a couple of years later, he was like, "Hey, do you wanna do this podcast thing with Sean?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." But that doesn't happen if we hadn't just been hanging out my birthday weekend one year, just like making good memories.
Yeah, exactly, man. I've met so many people in the disc golf community, and like playing all these different tiers, you get to meet a whole lot of people in the time that I've moved up. So, like, there's been times where I have somebody come up to me and like, it's like, "Oh, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Shh, who are you?"
Yeah.
I did it, man. Like, there's so many faces. Like, I'm good with faces, just can't quite remember names too well.
No, but it's good, right? Like it's better having somebody come up to you and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" You're like, "Crap, I can't remember how I know you," or like, "I know you, but I can't
I
remember
know
your name."
where I know where I've
That's
seen
better
you.
than like somebody come up to you and be like, "Hey, like fuck you, man," and you're like, "Where do I know you from?" It's all good. It's good. It's good times. It's good memories. So and Sean plopped this question in. He saw on the Winter Farms Spring Frenzy page, like when, and you may know this, I don't know if our listeners do.
I just seen it.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you go to a page and somebody who has earned the right to cash but doesn't cash an event on the PDGA page, it doesn't show any money next to their name. So be like first place $100, second place $50, third place, and there's nothing there, and then fourth place 25 or whatever. So that person in third could have cashed but didn't. Winter Farms last weekend, there is a $43 thing next to your name, my friend. Do you have any idea what happened there?
I just seen that as well. Just give me a second here.
I'm assuming that you didn't actually take any cash home.
No, I did not.
An administrative error, perhaps.
Maybe he was in the talks of letting me merch out or gift card, so maybe I missed an email or something. But
Either way,
I just
not accepting cash, waiting for Am Worlds, waiting for US AMs, waiting for Nats.
Yeah, if I did accept cash, it would show me as a professional. So
okay.
The update just happened today, so it's still classified
Joining the
as
960
amateur.
club.
We're safe. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, 960s as of this ratings update today. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It's I know especially it gets harder to move up the higher you get.
Yeah. I actually was doing some looking at my stats from over the years, and I don't know if you guys know this, but my first ever rating was 773 or 774.
Oh man.
And from that time, I guess 2023 till now, I've only went down rating 4 times.
That's
and it's
crazy.
only been like 1 or 2 points every time. So that like, I think I would rather start where I started than try to play the event and just shoot lights out and be a like 960 rated player and then slowly lose all that, I feel like that would be like, it kind of suck. I'd feel like degraded, I guess. To have start where I am and move up was ideal for me. It feels better.
Yeah, totally. And I'm like the opposite. I started in like the mid 800s. Within a couple months, I got up to like an 880 something, and then just like totally crashed. Like not crazy, but dropped 20, 25 ratings points. It took me like 3 or 4 years to get back. Like I'm just now at like, in the low 900s. I'm, 907, 908. And I would much prefer starting at the 700s and like I'm not even saying to get to like 960, but if we're going, whatever journey to get to where I am today, I would so much rather just a slow punch up versus like starting here, crashing, and like coming back.
But I was just, I was there.
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, you still think of yourself as that player sometimes, and then when you don't get there, you beat yourself up about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, I should be an 885 rated player. How come I'm playing 800 disc golf? What's going on? You got to just be in the moment and just take it seriously and do your best.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on from that a little bit. You've also picked up a few sponsors as you've been moving your way up the ranks. So right now, I believe your sponsors, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ross Riverdina Consulting, Inc., Primal Disc Golf, and Forge Discs. Anybody I'm missing?
Ross Riverdina
Excuse me.
Consulting, and Forge, and Primal. No, you got it.
Awesome. Okay, good. Our research intern did a good job today. Yes, sir, the Forge hoodie. So just curious, how did these sponsorships come about? Is there anything you want to say about your relationship with your sponsors and what you look forward to as you continue to grow with them?
So I'll start with Ross Riverdina Consulting Inc. He's a good friend of mine from back home. He came down for the wedding and was super supportive, like brought one of my best friends. Yeah. I love that. We brought one of my best friends that thought he wasn't too sure if he was gonna make it. So he ended up paying for his ticket to come down as well to be one of the groomsmen for me. And they did not tell me at the time. His brother, when I first saw him, was like, oh, like, gave me a hug, whatnot. He's like, oh, come out, man, I got something for you. And then they went to the trunk, and out pops my buddy out of the trunk. It was hilarious. But anyways, my sponsor, he brought him down, and then we had our wedding and everything, and he's seen all my posts and everything about disc golf, and he's like, oh, well, like, I'd really love to help you out and sponsor you. Like, let me know what I can do with that and whatnot. So after that, I reached out when he got back home not too long after the wedding, and we talked about that and what our sponsorship together would look like, and we agreed upon what he offers me now, and from there it's just been, like, giving him shout outs, and he's right there in my corner every event. And there's some events where I'm like, like, I feel bad because he helps me out so much. I wouldn't be able to do the amount of events that I do without him in my corner, because he pays for my travel, and like, travel's huge. That's hundreds of dollars in events just traveling there, food, accommodations, gas, and again, just like huge to have him in my corner there. And
yeah, that's a good friend. That's a good sponsor. Not to put you on the spot, and if you don't have anything, that's okay, but is there anything that our listener should know about Ross Riverdina if they were to seek out some consulting services? Is there anything that you can shout out about how, what it is that he could do for them and his company could?
Well, I don't know, because like, he's in the Yukon and he does all this stuff that's based around our Casca territories and stuff. Yeah, just a lot to do around our territories and stuff, and making sure, like, our land is taken care of and whatnot. And
Awesome. Yeah. So if our listener finds themselves up in the Yukon and needing any services related to land conservation, preservation, they should look him up. Otherwise, they should just know that he is a good person who does awesome things, and give him shout outs when they can, I guess.
Yeah.
Give him respect. Awesome. So Russ or Verdena, amazing, and yeah, you're right that covering those costs is something that's so underrated in disc golf. Like, I'm going to 2 tournaments this weekend. The amount of gas money, camping, food, like that's 3 to 4 times the cost of the tournaments I'm playing in. So that's massive. And Forge and Primal, how did those partnerships come about, and what do you want to say about those sponsors?
Forge happened the last time I was at AM Worlds. I we were at a players party. They had a bunch of vendors, all that stuff, like as they do. And I don't think I would have found Forge without having to buy a mini, because that's where it came from. I bought a mini because they were holding a mini like course, a full 18-hole course with mini baskets, and you play with a mini, and you were able to win money. And I think I ended up winning that. It was my first with that mini. So I had a couple minis with me. I just didn't like how they flew, so I bought a couple at the vendor's place, and one of them was the Forge mini, and that thing bombed for a mini. Honestly, it was so good. It was so good. So I played with a mini, and I was like, okay, like I won 50 bucks USD from them, and I was like, okay, well, their mini helped me win this, so I'm gonna go spend some money on them. I bought a nail, and I threw it, and instantly I was like, this is in the bag. If like a lot of people that had thrown the nail that I let them try says it kind of feels weird or whatnot. Like, flies good, but it feels a little weird. But that never really like was an issue for me. I didn't care.
So, like, perfect flow into my next question. So I want to get us back to Primal, and I will. But for people that are unaware, one of the reasons why probably that disc feels a little strange is Forge Discs is one of, if not the only company out there producing PDGA-approved 3D printed discs. So I know you've bagged that nail, their slightly overstable approach disc for quite some time. I think you have an Ash in your bag as well, which is, I think, a neutral mid.
Yeah.
Have you tried the Fairway driver as well, the temper,
I did.
and anything you want to say about the discs that you have in your bag? Because I know you throw them insanely well.
Well, the Ash and nail are money. I love them. I didn't really give the temper, I believe it's called the temper, a chance. My sorry, I had a pop-up thing on my screen. I know one of my good friends, one of the first people I ever played with, actually, in a tournament was Anthony, Tony. People know him as Tony at Spruce.
Big Tony.
Yeah, and he loves the temper, and with the really cold weather we had this winter, the Ash or the temper he had cracked. So I gave him mine because I didn't really give it a chance. I threw it a couple times. I didn't really like it. It wasn't like I already have a disc in that slot, and it's hard for me to move on from a disc that I'm already like 100% I'm having in the bag. But yeah, give him that. I do want to give it a chance again. I want to see what I can do with that, because I think if I do, I probably will end up putting it in a bag. But the Ash, I recently, as the beginning of the winter, I put that in the bag to give it a chance as well, because I think I only got them. Brady brought some back for me, and he got me a couple of those, and I threw them a couple times. I was like, put it aside. I've never played with it again, but I was changing my bag a lot last year, and then the beginning of this year, so I gave that a chance, and Ash was so good. Like, I don't know why I didn't have that in my bag a lot sooner. So straight, just point and shoot. It was one of my go-to upshot discs, standstill discs. Almost like it's a 3 glide, right? So it don't go too far. It goes almost just a little further than my nail. So if I want something to just go straight and not have that fade, that's the disc I'm grabbing. And I'll probably end up grabbing the nail or Ash at least once a hole, depending on the course. But yeah. Great
So
pick.
it goes just the right distance with that 3 glide, just as far as you need it to.
Yeah.
And as we're sort of talking about your bag, obviously there are only 3 forged discs out there for the time being. We're certainly looking forward to seeing some more, but obviously I'm guessing you got some flexibility in your sponsorship agreement for the rest of your bag. So what else do you throw? What are some of your go-to discs that you can't leave the house without?
Bomber courses, I will not leave with without my nuke. Another bag that just recently, or another disc that just recently made the bag. I've slept on all these discs. I was a big TSA fan. That's all I threw. My whole bag was a TSA bag. So after branching out and trying other stuff, like one of the main discs that's not left my bag since I've transitioned over to trying new stuff is a Destroyer. Love the Destroyer. Don't know why I slept on it. Everybody, like when I first started playing disc golf, I was like, oh, like online looking at discs that were like everybody's go-to, which led me to the Berg, and then like some of the discs, I was just like, it's too hyped up. I don't even want to try it. Like the Destroyer, the Zone, another disc that I've just recently made the bag is a Zone. Um, and then going back to your other question, there's probably a Pathfinder. Like just always the right disc I need. If it's a 3 disc challenge, I'd probably go with Pathfinder, Nuke, and like my putter.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I dig it. And sort of talking about building a bag and sort of branching out a little bit more in your disc golf world and your sponsor world. I told you we get back to it. You also recently announced a partnership with Primal Disc Golf, the brainchild of Chris Kotick, who we just had on the podcast to talk with about this a couple weeks back. So how did that sponsorship come together, and how do you feel about your relationship with Chris and Primal?
Chris is an amazing guy. He has so much ambition. He wants to do a lot for the disc golf community, which I respect and I love, and I want to be behind that kind of person as as a sponsor or just a friend, you know. Um, Primal, I didn't even know he had that in the works. He messaged me and asked me if I'd like to have a sponsor by him, and he walked me through everything that he was doing and wants to do, and of course I'm gonna, you know, I he's got a lot of ambition, as I said, and I want to see him do everything that he's said he wants to do, you know. I missed the episode on you guys. It's on my watch list, but I'm sure he had a lot to say of what he wants to do. So, um,
Yeah, we were talking about getting a bricks and mortar shop set up, some YouTube, some content for online, some urban disc golf challenges. Yeah, a lot of ambition, and obviously it's still very early in Primal's sort of it's a nascent company, but I think he's going to do everything that he says he's going to do. So
I
I'm
think
I'm
so
very
too.
excited to see you and him
He's
go on that
passionate about
journey.
the sport, and he's got the willpower to do it. So I don't see him not doing it. So yeah, I would like to help him get there any way I can, and if he can help me move up a bit, then it's all you know, all
It's
equals
all
out.
it's all
So
gravy, baby.
yeah,
Yeah, no. As a much worse disc golfer who also has some brands that I get to be an ambassador for, um, yep, it's all about growing with them. Like I feel like since I've been working with Cardinal and with Gateway, it's like I'm trying to like it makes me want to be better. I want to try to give them value. It's like okay, they're giving me really great deals on some products that I get to rock and allowing me to be part of a team that I'm really excited to be on. So it's like okay, so as they are growing as brands, how do I try to demonstrate that I care about them and I want to make sure that they do well? So yeah, I'm very excited to see what you and Chris do locally and maybe if Primal Team expands and how that goes. Um, so looking ahead, and I've kept you here for a long time, and I promise we're almost done. So thanks for hanging with me, man. Because I know, like,
I guess
it's like for
hours.
oh But peeking behind the curtain, it's 10:35 right now. You and I just got back I was working. I figure you were doing stuff. We played tags for 3 hours and drove back home and quickly hopped on. So I want to be respectful of your time. So I'm going to go with one more regular question, and then we're going to hit you with a lightning round and get you out of here. So looking ahead, rest of the 2026 season and beyond, what are some goals that you have? Are there any events that you're looking forward to playing? Any, ratings wise, or just personal growth goals that you have? What's next for you? What are you excited about?
Just hit a goal today. 960 was one of my first goals. I think going back to one of the questions of how to improve and whatnot is not setting your goals too high. Something unattainable, what feels unattainable. I think setting your goals, small steps on the way to that big goal is key. So one of my smaller goals was 960 rated. I think I want to try to be 980 by the end of the season. So my middle goal is like 970-ish. And I think that's very doable. I think I've been putting up some solid rounds lately. I've only shot my first underrated round this past weekend out of like 7 sanctioned events or 7 sanctioned rounds. So that's one of my goals there. And then, sorry, what was the other questions?
No, you nailed it. Just sort of what are you looking forward to? I guess the other piece was if there were any events that you were like really jazzed up to be playing this year. I know you mentioned Nationals and Worlds.
United States Amateur Disc Golf Championships. I think Heights Slopeside, the new course in Barrie. I'm really looking forward for that. The Muskoka Open, 2 amazing courses there. Limberlost and Wolf Tracks. Limberlost is one of my favorite courses, and with their new updated track that they have there is champion level, and that's courses I love playing. I love trying to just battle for even and being 1,000 rated after that. But other than that, there's a few, like I want to play we just opened their registration last night. Cedar Creek.
Yes.
Played Cedar Creek for the first time last year, and again, one of the top courses on my top 10. Great course, great guy, and just well maintained. So that's another one I'm looking forward to. Feel like there's just so many great like we're so blessed to have so many great courses and events and TDs,
yeah, golden age of disc golf in Ontario, man.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah, I as you know, I'm disc golfing a lot less these days because I got the baby. But last year I feel like I was like just doing things that were comfortable. I was like, I can only do a few events. I'm gonna do events that I've played before that I know I like, and I'm gonna have a blast. Like I'm gonna go to events like Brawny, Blackfly, whatever, where I'm like, I know I'm gonna have a good time. Stone's Throw. But then this year, which is funny that I mentioned that because I am going to Stone's Throw this weekend. But like my goal is to just like play as many courses that I haven't played that I've wanted to play for a while as I can. So like this probably shocking to some people that don't know this. I haven't played P15. I haven't played Cedar Creek. I haven't played Oak Goat. Like some courses I've been hearing for years are like the best in the province. I have not gotten to them yet. And that is the thing that I want to try to do this year is experience more of disc golf in Ontario because there's so much good stuff out there. Am I playing what?
P15 this weekend.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm gonna see you 2 days in a row. I'm sorry for you, but yeah, it's gonna be good, buddy.
Love it. Love all the harassment I get from you.
It keeps things exciting.
Yeah. So again, Stone's Throw is always is going to be one of the
so fun always
events that I look forward to. He runs an amazing event on a great course, even though I know that the spring event is going to be wet. I'm probably expecting him to go to P15 with trench foot, but whatever. Just something up in the air in Stone's Throw that just unleashes a different James, and I love going there.
Was that your first 1,000 rated round at Stone's Throw? It was one of the first, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my first ever 1,000 rated round was Stone's Throw, and my PB 10:47 is at Stone's Throw last year. So
You're a gangster. That's crazy.
first win in A1, first win in MPO. You know, I love going up there. It's a great track, and I don't know, I just play it well. So looking
Yeah,
forward
you
to
do.
that.
You sure
And,
do.
looking forward for P15 the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, actually, I'll ask you later. I was going to say, what's your plan for the weekend? But I'll wait till after. I don't want to bore our listeners with that. But one thing before we go to lightning round that I realized that I did that I hate when other podcasts do that I listen to is when they don't think about the listener and they like there's something on screen that they don't talk about, or if they like flash something that comes in and it doesn't come back. So I was trying to think the whole time about a question for this, and I can't. But I think you know exactly what this is. This is the disc that I got from you when you asked me to be a groomsman in your wedding. So I just wanted, again, I wish I had a question. I don't have one, but I flashed it and you and I just had a quick comment about it. So I just wanted to show it off because this is like, there are 2 discs I would never sell. And one is I got a World Disc Golf Championship disc signed by Kristen Tatar, now Kristen Lett, Holland Hanley, Missy Gannon, and the 2 Hot Geese. That disc and this disc are the 2 discs I will never sell for any reason. But at one point, me and James were playing around, and after he pulls me aside and gives me this, and this is a Thought Space Athletics altar in Nerve plastic, and it says, "Do you have the nerve to join me on the altar when I get married? Alexis and I are linking the chain. Galen, will you be my groomsman?" And that is still, to this day, like the coolest disc golf related piece of memorabilia that I have. So I don't have a question. I'm not even asking you to chime in per se, but I flashed it. You and I had a couple brief comments about the wedding, and you know, so I just wanted to spotlight that because that is so friggin' cool. Anyway, I've had you on here for like an hour, and at some point, if you don't have to, I got to get some sleep. So before we let you go, I'm just gonna hit you. We do this with every first-time guest. Lightning round questions. We asked all of our first-time guests just quick answers. First thing in your mind, Lightning Ka-Chow McQueen. First off, what is your favorite course?
Stone's Throw.
My man, see you there on Saturday. What is the hardest course that you've ever played?
Haute Goat.
Okay, playing that in a month. Curious how that goes.
Or toboggan. Toboggan. So
Toboggan.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And one sport, either playing or watching it, other than disc golf, what is that sport for you?
Hockey.
My man, a man of culture. What song makes you instantly turn the volume up to max?
Big Dogs.
Big Dogs. And what is your favorite place to stop for food? You're out, you're on a road trip, disc golf, you leave Stone's Throw, you're going to P15, where like you see a sign on the horizon for fast food. What do you want that sign to say?
Arby's. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a rare answer. That's a really good answer. I don't think you've ever heard that before.
I know a good poutine from there, and maybe a small burger is like a reward to myself, whether I win or lose.
Just a little treat.
Yeah.
And what movie never gets old no matter how many times you've watched it?
Ooh. The Call of the Wild.
Ooh, okay. I like it. I've read the book. I actually don't think I've seen the
I
movie.
don't know if it's the book, though. Just hold on. Let me just look this up.
No, it's the one about the sled dogs, right?
No.
Oh, so this is a different Call of the Wild.
Is it? Yeah. Came out.
There's like a dude, and there's like I don't remember much about it, but Jack London, Call of the Wild.
Harrison Ford, isn't it?
I believe you. Oh yeah, it came out a few years ago. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
2020.
Yeah. So I read the book. I ain't seen the movie, but now I'm going to see the movie because you brought it up.
Great.
Hey, not tonight, but probably. I was gonna say I'll watch it tonight, but I'm gonna fall asleep. I'll watch it this week. And last lightning round question: if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Strength. That's the first thing that came in my mind. So lightning round.
Yeah.
I'll probably, if I think about it, I'll probably say something.
That's one of the top 3. Yeah, we get strength a lot, flying, heard a few invisibility, I think, but yeah, it's usually like just the number one. Anyway, we have had you for a while, or I have had you for a while, because my two co-hosts are deadbeats and didn't even show up to our interview. But before I let you go, I just want to make sure we give you the floor. If you have any shout outs for your sponsors, any final comments you want to make, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, so shout out to my sponsor Forge, Primal, and my great buddy back home, Russ River Dental Consulting, and my beautiful wife.
So they shouldn't shoot on Alexis, or else we'll both be in trouble.
You should have been first, but you said sponsors, so sponsors came in my head first. But yeah, my beautiful wife that allows me, I shouldn't say allow, but endures my distal journey.
Endures your obsession.
Yeah, I think, and
yeah, you and I like to joke that we're married to the same person because our wives are so alike. But yeah, you got a good one.
It's so scary. And just all the TVs that make all these events possible, the ODSA, you guys for giving us tournament recaps and all that every at least weekly, starting probably now, I'm assuming, as the tournament season begins. And also go subscribe to the Early Birdies. Me and Mitch Muse are doing our YouTube channel there. We just do local courses. We're trying to have Alyssa Sanders on. None of us can make the time. Well, I shouldn't say it. None of us. Alyssa at the time, she would willing to come out. Well, me and Mitch just couldn't make the time. But hopefully have her on again, maybe as a practice round in the States for Worlds. Hopefully. Other than that, we're gonna try to get videos out at least once a month as the work season begun and tournament season begun. We're all getting pretty busy. So other than that, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Hope to be on soon, maybe after my win this weekend at Stone's Throw.
We'll space it out a little bit, but next time we have you on, we'll talk Stone's Throw. But yeah, crap, I can't believe I forgot to... I will blame our research intern who was paid $0 for this job for not putting some questions in about Early Birdies, because if you guys have not heard of Early Birdies, it is James and Mitch Muse, as you just said, YouTube channel. Some of the best, like, just coming out of nowhere. I didn't even know you guys were doing this. Some of the best disc golf content in Ontario, course previews, playthrough rounds. So I'm subscribed, and if you're listening, you should be too. And with that, thank you so much, James, for joining me. I really appreciate it, and we'll be right back on Miss Mando.
Well, welcome back to Missed Mando. Thank you so much once again to James for coming on and joining. I am bummed I had to miss out on that one. James has become a good buddy of mine in the disc golf world. Don't see him as often as I would like, especially now that he has moved up into MPO and is playing with the big dogs while I'm still down in MA1. Hopefully, though, that brings a little bit of a good sign for me, because I've had some close battles with James. And like I said, I haven't listened to the interview yet until everybody else does, so I'm not sure if it was brought up, but James beat me by one stroke at Stone's Throw 2 years ago, I believe, and that's where I'm going back to this weekend. So that memory is fresh in my mind. I almost had it was probably like 100-foot throw-in that would have sent it to a playoff and hit the top of the band instead. So almost had a really sick moment, but James took it down from me, and then he took it down in MPO last year. So he is on a rise, and very grateful for him for coming on the show. And I'm sure it was a good job by Galen, although really it's Galen, so I can't say anything too far ahead, but I'll have confidence in my co-host. Moving on now, we're going to get into some Ontario news. And Shawnee G, I see some things in here that you put in that I have not read yet. So let's throw it on over to you.
April 22nd is the Ontario Disc Sports Association annual general meeting. If you're a member of the ODSA, you should check your emails for information on how you can attend that. And if you are a member club, make sure to send your delegate for voting to the ODSA so that they can be registered for that. And with the Ontario Tour kicking off this weekend at the Stone's Throw Spring Open, and then next weekend at the Five Sisters Spring Open, The ODSA Provincials qualifying criteria have been released. So first of all, if you finish top 3 at any ODSA, any Ontario Tour stop, you get a qualifier. Only the top 3 will get that spot. If someone has already qualified, it does not pass down to the 4th place finisher. You must be an ODSA paid member. You must be current before the start of your first round. No finishing first in your first round and be like, oh, I want to sign up so I can get that. No. You must be a member prior to the start of your first round. And then clubs that receive at least 10 tour points will earn a club spot to give to one of their members. And then also, if you are a TD on the tour, you also get an invitation as a thank you for all the work that you're doing to put on that event. The qualifying spots are basically in all of the divisions from MA3 and FA3 up through all of the age-protected divisions and then all the pro divisions. So it will be a very well-attended provincials out in Kemptville this year at the Ferguson Forest and Sandy Row, which is a golf course. It's going to be great. Very much looking forward to it. And there is no way that I will be getting a qualifying spot. So it'll be great to watch everybody else play. So, yeah.
A couple things to add on. I know in the past, club points were given out to just the winners at events. If you won an event and you were registered with a Ontario club, you would get a Ontario club point. I believe from what I was reading earlier that has now changed to top 3. So to go along with the qualifying for provincials with a top 3 spot, if you finish in the top 3, you will earn a club point for your club. And then, like Sean said, clubs that receive at least 10 tour points will earn a club spot to give to somebody in their club, a volunteer, somebody that didn't qualify and deserves to get in. They can give that out. I've seen clubs do that in multiple ways where they've hosted an event to play for it. Some have done voting to vote who to give it for, and lots of different ways that clubs can decide how to give that out. But it should be a little bit easier to get some club points because you don't just have to win. If you finish top 3, you'll get a club point for your club. And this was a good time to come up and talk about this because, as I mentioned, I'm going to be playing in the Stones Throw Spring Open this weekend, and I do not have a currently active ODSA membership. Mine expired in, I think it was just earlier, it was right at the end of March, I believe, because that was when I signed up for it last year, so it finally looped over. But haven't played an ODSA or an OCC tour event so far this year, so haven't needed it yet, but probably when we're done this recording, I'm going to jump on and finally get that taken care of.
Turn on auto renew. Come on, Robbie.
I know. I should. I'm going to do that this year when I go on and renew it. I'll set up the auto renew feature so I can just forget about it and be totally covered whenever I am needed. And I'm super excited for Kemptville Provincials. So get signed up for a ODSA membership and compete in some OCC events for your chance to qualify. The only downside with it being in Kemptville is that there is no 5F tournament this year. That'll be taking place provincials will be taking its place, I should say. So I won't have a recap where I can come on and say the Flying Ferguson Forest Fall Foray, which is just one of my favorite tournament names to say. But a small, very small downside to that, I would say. I'm very excited for provincials this year. So hopefully I will be able to qualify. All right. Moving on now, we've got some registrations popping up, of course, like we always do. Shawnee G, what do we got on deck coming up now?
First up, Registration is already open for the Eddyville Superspin Glitch World Championship qualifier. This is going down May 23rd out at the Superspin track. Next, the Madeline Kerr Memorial Tournament to benefit the Madeline Kerr Forever 16 Foundation is happening at Niagara-on-the-Lake on May 30th. Registration for that opens on April 18th. It's a doubles tournament. They're going to play 18 holes, so twice around the course. It's only $20 per team, with all proceeds going to the foundation. Great for beginners. Great for people local to that area. Definitely sign up for that one. The Canadians women's event is going down at Marilyn Bell Park. It's being put on by the Marilyn Bell Glow League and, of course, Dr. Glow. It's happening June 24th, and registration for that opens on April 16th. I believe that is a Wednesday night, and it is going to be a Glow event. Next, the Sully Cup 2 is going down at Bronte on June 27th, and registration for that opens on April 27th. A big one. Next is a big one. The White Spruce Open. That opens tonight for the early bird. Tonight, April 16th, if you're listening right away. That event is going down on July 4th and 5th. It is an OCC Tour stop and a provincials qualifier. There are the other opening date for registration, I think, is April 16th.
April 18th.
18th. Thank you very much. General registration, April 18th. Early bird, including the $25 whole sponsorship, opens tonight. That will absolutely sell out. And if you're in any of the M divisions, you really need to be sponsoring a hole there to make sure that you get into this can't miss event.
And then that's one of those tournaments where I set my alarm. Like, let's see, it says general registration April 18th at 8 p.m. I will have alarms for 7:55 and 7:59 just to remind myself to be on Disc Golf Scene right when it opens. Like you're buying popular concert tickets. That's the way you got to handle this one, because yes, this is a very popular event. It'll sell out fast.
Hit that F5 refresh. Let's go.
Yes.
Lastly, all of the Little Heisers tour stops are now open for registration. There are 13 events across the province, culminating in junior provincials going down at Otonabee Disc Golf Course on August 29th. There's just too many events for us to list here, so check them all out on Disc Golf Scene. You can find one of the events. You can click on the top where it says part of the 2026 Ontario Heisers Tour. Click that. It'll give you all of them. Register. As always, these are a free series of sanctioned tournaments for junior players across the province. We helped raise a little bit of money to help make that happen through the Mayhem event. And it is so heartwarming. If you remember last year, there was, if I recall, a playoff in FJ6. And it was the most adorable thing I think I have ever seen in my entire life. It was down at Paris on hole 1. Amazing. Just absolutely loved it. And I can't wait to see what this year's provincials brings to the table. It's going to be amazing on an amazing course. What more can you say? Sign up your kids for the Little Heisers Tour. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely sign up for some of those, or get your kids signed up. If you're young enough to sign up for those, I don't know why you're listening to this podcast. Sean's rules, opinions, and stuff that he might influence on you at such a young age, I might not recommend. But if you are listening and you are age eligible, or you have kids that would like to, definitely check that out. And I love supporting the Little Heisers Tour. It's an amazing thing that is done in this province, and growing the game from the roots up. is only going to make this game better and grow it more, and getting kids hooked on it early is such a great thing to do. So definitely check out those Little Heiser tour stops, and be on the lookout for, I'm sure at some point, another Missed Mando Mayhem that may or may not be supporting the Little Heisers tour. We kind of change up our which we're supporting at each, but we've done a couple for the Little Heisers tour, so keep an eye out for something like that as well. And I think it is time now, Shawnee G, to get into some tournament recaps. And we have been away from a main show for a little bit. I think like 3 weeks. We usually only have 2 weeks between shows, but I think it was 3 weeks. So we got a bunch to recap. And we kick things off with a tournament that has become a staple for the start of the season in Southern Ontario, with the 5th annual Winter Thaw at White Spruce in Brampton, Ontario, which had 217 total players across 18 divisions. In FPO, friend of the show, Colleen McInnes, shot a 933 rated +3 in round 1 to take a 5-stroke lead over Stephanie Hall into the final round, where she shot the hot round again with a 951 rated +1 to take the win by 8 strokes over Kat Johnson, with Stephanie rounding out the podium in third. Over in MPO, Cam Zanini and Calvin Rorta both shot 999 rated. 999. Come on, just boost it up one more for that 1,000. 999 rated -4s to share the lead, with Andrew Leland and, checking my notes here, Robbie Holden, both 2 strokes back. What the heck? A lead card in MPO for ya boy right here? I know, right? But it will surprise absolutely no one that Roller Coaster Robbie fell right off the pace in the final round. I think I bogeyed like the first 4 holes and just took myself right out of it. And I dropped down into 5th place, still made the cash line, and officially took my first cash ever. So my PDGA page is now registered as professional, and I've got a grand total career earnings of $62. Let's go, baby. Big money. But the rest of the lead card were locked in a battle that saw Cam holding a 2-stroke lead over Calvin and 4 over Andrew after the first 10 holes. But after 8 straight pars for Cam in a stretch where Calvin went -1 and Andrew rattled off 4 birdies in a row, the lead was tied, with Calvin only 1 stroke back with 1 hole to play. On the final hole, Andrew hit a big putt, probably around circle's edge, or just a little circle's edge, hit a big putt to take the lead. Calvin hit another big putt to tie for second, and Cam had a 20-foot putt to force a playoff against Andrew, but unfortunately it was just off the mark, giving Leland the come-from-behind win. Awesome battle to watch, even though I didn't play great in the second round. It was super cool to be on a lead card in MPO with 3 very, very talented disc golfers. That definitely put me in my place. I've never felt more inadequate with my forehand in that round. It was ridiculous. Over in MP40, Daryl Nantes shot a 961 rated even par in the opening round to take a 1-stroke lead into the final round over Greg Grutenboer, Craig Ireland, and Adam Shepardley. But in the final round, Brady Belanger was the only player in the division to shoot under par, a 1,005 rated -3 to get into a 3-way playoff against Adam and Daryl. But when the dust settled, it was Adam taking down a clutch playoff win, I believe in 2 holes. I think it went 2 holes, 2 or 3. Taking down the playoff win, the second MP40 win of his career. In the top amateur divisions, Sarah Skates shot a 859 rated +2 in the first round to take a 2-stroke lead into the final round in FA1, where 3 of 4 players in the division shot matching 848 rated +12 rounds, and Sarah maintained her 2-stroke lead for the win, her 10th career PDGA win. In MA1, Chris Bunce and John Koch were tied for the lead after the first round, following 987 rated -5s. But in the final round, Corey Hunter from Guelph, Ontario, represent, shot the hot round with a 977 rated -4 to tie Chris and John and send things to a playoff where Corey was able to complete the comeback and get the win, the third PDGA win of his career. Shawnee G, let's throw it on over to you for any thoughts from the White Spruce Winter Thaw. I know you were out there on one of those days. Any aces, one-stroke wins, anything you got, let's go over to you. I cannot hear you, sir.
I'm going to first unmute myself, and now I will read the script that Galen wrote, so you can just imagine that this is Galen speaking. And I swear to God, this is what he wrote. It said, I suck at White Spruce, and just in general, but especially at White Spruce, so I was nowhere near this tournament. I do not want to bring an old tradition of mine of completely... Sorry,
I do want to.
I was going to say, bringing back a tradition of his of just being terrible at disc golf, but no, okay. So I do want to bring back an old tradition of mine, completely ignoring the standout performances in general, and instead focusing on standout performances from friends of mine. Starting with Jane Anderson Renton, who will someday be a friend of the pod, but until then, she is just a friend. The great Jane Anderson Renton with a hard-fought 96-stroke victory in FA 60. Gabby Vivar, who doesn't have any connection to the show at all, for her tie in third place in FA 50, where she shot 33 points above her rating. Ian Brooks for a super strong tied for second in MA 50. Pete Lestraco for sliding into second place in MA3. Chris Bunce for the super solid second in MA1. Colleen McInnes, Kat Johnson, and Stephanie Hall for occupying the MPO podium. That seems like a typo because I'm pretty sure they were in FBO. And yes. Last but certainly not least, a local podcast host known as, and I think I'm reading this correctly, Sir Robert Holden, first of his name, Smasher of Chains, I don't know, something like that. Sliding in just behind friend of the pod, Chris Brown, for fifth in MPO with his first ever cash as a pro, where he will then ignore and go straight back to sandbagging in MA1. Also in Pro 50 was Miss Mando co-host Shawnee G, who was sitting in last place after his first round. However, after round two, he fought all the way back to finish in last place. So that's how my tournament went. But it went better for other people because we had.
Sorry, Sean. I just want to add on to that real quick because something that was mentioned in there, and I'm surprised Galen didn't shout him out. Chris Brown, friend of the show, friend of all of us here, who I believe was sitting in dead last place after the first round. I'm just going to do a little quick pull up here. But I believe he was sitting in dead last in MPO after round one. He was at +5, dead last by 2 strokes, and fought all the way back to finishing in 4th place. He jumped over everybody but the podium with a, let me just see here, what was it? It was a 1,014 rated -4 to jump all the way up the standings there. So wow. Surprised Galen didn't have that in his little spiel, but huge shout out to Brownie, who just missed out. Well, can't say just missed out on the podium. They were 6 under and he was +1. So a few strokes away, but he got himself all the way up to 4th place from dead last. So big shout out to Chris.
Big shout out to Chris, and big shout out to the 2 aces that went down at the Spruce. We have Billy Lang in MA40 nailing hole 11 red. That is such a sick ace to get over the stump line, just on that little downhill. Such high risk. You miss it, you're going way long. You're going to hole 20 if you miss that thing. And then also Marie Phillips in F850 nailing 16 red. Love that. I think Gabby was on that card and it was super hype when she nailed that ace. We've also got some one-stroke wins. We love the close battles. Andrew Leyland beats Cam Zanini and Calvin Ruda in a three-way race for first place. We have MP40 with Adam Shepardly beating Brady Belanger and Daryl Nantis in a playoff. We've got MA40 Taylor Clark beating Billy Lang by one stroke. And man, Billy Lang's ace really kept him in contention there. In FA3, Nikki Kramer beats Jasmine Phillips and Natalie Moffat by a stroke. In MA1, Corey Hunter beats local legend Chris Bunce and James Koch in a playoff. And in MA2, Chris Shepard beats Tyler Finch in a playoff. So many playoffs going down at White Spruce at the Winter Thaw.
Yeah, it was a great event, and slight correction, it's John Koch, not James Koch.
Oh, did
Sean is all over the place.
I
in
am
this
functionally
episode right now.
illiterate, and so this happens sometimes.
It happens to the best of us. I certainly can't judge with the amount of slip-ups or ums that I throw into sentence. Sometimes listening back to an episode, I'm like, geez, Robbie, how many times can you say in one sentence? Get yourself together. It is definitely a lot, but yeah, great event out. Like I said at the beginning, what's becoming a staple in the early disc golf season in Ontario with the Winter Thaw at White Spruce. And big shout out to tournament director Spencer Young, friend of the show, Spencer Young, for all the work that he does putting that on every single year. Not to overshadow it though, but of course, we're going to move on now to the big tournament. We had Champions Cup this past weekend, a PDGA major. Nah, who cares? This is where it's at. The Missed Mando Mayhem5. Shawnee G, let's send it to you for this one.
Easter weekend saw the return of the most important tournament series in the history of disc golf with the Missed Mando Mayhem number 5 going down at the Autonomy Disc Golf Course at Escape Maze in Peterborough. Angelica and Ike at Escape Maze went all out to make this event amazing and did so much work getting the course ready for the day. They made islands, they added new baskets, they made new tee pads, they moved covered wagons into terrible positions to use as putt-through Mandos. They truly went above and beyond. Thank you so much for making this such a miserable day. It was fantastic. Really contributing to the misery of the event was the weather. It was perfect for this event. Basically pouring rain for the first couple hours. It really got the mud flowing on some of the holes. The 30 teams of victims were treated to 25 holes of just sheer misery and suffering, with a single round time running anywhere from 4.5 hours to almost 6.5 hours long. Most impressively was one team of women who had never thrown a Frisbee before. They didn't know what disc golf was. They just heard about this event and decided to show up. And they finished the entire event laughing the whole time with a score of plus 109. Truly, the spirit of the mayhem was strong with them. And then they also took down the 50-50 draw. It was so sick. They had a great time, and we love seeing them out there. Robbie, jump in.
I was just going to say, the crowd pop when they won the 50-50 was like one of my favorite memories from any of the Missed Mando events that we've done. Everybody went bananas when they stood up to come collect their cash. It was so cool.
It was so perfect. They had such a fun time, and we absolutely loved having them there. They, of course, won the More Throws, More Fun trophy, the most coveted trophy in all of disc sports. And so it was great. We'd love to see them out there. As is now our usual format, teams were spread into 3 divisions, pro, am, and female. The women's division had 3 teams, including those absolute first-timers. In the end, it was Team New Disc Who Dis, which was Nina Vanderlinden and Tati Mabi. They took it down over the Chaos Chickens, comprised of Anna Olin and Laura Hendricks, by 7 strokes, which over the course of 25 holes, that was That was a pretty close battle. It was anyone's game. Fantastic. In the AM division, there were 18 teams, including one that recorded the first ever Mayhem DNF. And frankly, I'm surprised there haven't been more, and that just means I need to make the course harder. This division was, of course, the most hotly contested one, with the top two teams separated by only a single stroke. Now, if you were watching the leaderboard in UDisc, it appeared that Team Daredevil Duo, comprised of Hakya Isaac and Zoe Massey, had squeaked out a win by a stroke. However, there was a truly shocking twist worthy of the mayhem. See, when teams checked in, they were each given a single Ripped Revenge card to use during the round. If you don't know, Ripped Revenge is a disc golf card game where players can use the powers listed on the card to influence how the game gets played. There are things like make the other team throw using the other hand, or rethrow your shot without incurring a penalty. Some help you and some hurt the other team. Unbeknownst to Team Daredevil Duo was that Team Great White Shanks, comprised of Riley White and Adam White, had a card that said if the card wasn't used by the end of the round, they could take 2 strokes off their score. And so with that, they stole the win and the trophy. It truly was a finale worthy of the mayhem. Absolutely loved it. In pro, Oz and Tobin won again and were the only team under par. So the event raised $1,570 for the ODSA's Little Heisers Tour, which again, as we mentioned, provides totally free sanctioned tournaments for junior players across the province. Money was raised from registration fees, mulligan sales, the 50-50 draw. We had a raffle draw, and all money raised after the payouts was donated to the Little Heisers. The surprising ongoing success of this ridiculous tournament just means that we're going to have to inflict again upon Ontario disc golfers in the future. So stay tuned for the next one because we are already working on it. Robbie, any additional thoughts?
Yeah, this was a fantastic event, like it always is for these mayhem events. I am just continually blown away by the support that we get for these ridiculous events that we put on. Shawnee G goes into a course and just, completely ruins it and makes it the toughest, most silly, most ridiculous course you've ever seen. But everybody always has an absolute blast. This one was especially crazy with the weather. First time that we have had a course where props and things on the property were in use. So like Sean mentioned, covered wagons. There was the cabin
in the woods. That was so fun.
That one is awesome. Literally inside the cabin, you could go through the front door or one of the side windows that didn't have any glass on it. You could go through that way. Sean was out there taking pictures, so I did see proof that it was attempted both ways. People were trying to go through the window. People were going through the door. So that one was awesome. I particularly liked the laser tag arena hole, which had a Mando through jail cell bars, basically. So it was like a forehand roller that you were just trying to launch straight forward through these slats in these metal bars. And I already gave him a shout out for his performance at White Spruce, but also a shout out to Chris Brown and Colleen McInnes, who I only watched one card go through there. So I don't know for certain if anybody did better than they did on that, but I can't imagine so, because Brownie got his roller perfectly through the bars, continued to roll forward a little bit, and both of them had an attempt. The basket was also in this weird, not a cabin, but this weird like silo sort of thing. It was, strange getup. But the basket was in there, and both of them had runs on a C2 putt to get in there, and both had a chance to make it, really, but just kind of rattled around on the inside of that structure, didn't get into the basket. But it was so awesome to see somebody have a 2 attempt on that hole just absolutely blew my mind. I did not play in this event, as I mentioned, probably a good thing based on the weather that was out there, but I was hanging out in Tournament Central. Also, awesome like Tournament Central that they've got on this course too. They were selling, I believe, popcorn, hot dogs. You could get coffee or hot chocolate. They were selling stuff in there too. So, just really impressed with the course, the property, and like Sean said, a big shout out to Angelica, Ike, and everybody out there that helped. Angelica was a little delayed on my own there. But a huge shout out to everybody that was out there, and I just can't wait for the next one. I keep saying it every single time we do one. I can't wait for the next one, and no spoilers. But if things go the way that we have been talking about them lately with the course that we want to do it at, it's going to be a big one. A big one. So keep your eye out for that. I also just want to go over, I went through and went back and listened to some of our old podcast episodes when we were talking about previous Miss Mando Mayhem tournaments, and I put together a spreadsheet for a grand total of not only players, but money as well. So now through 5 events of this, starting with Miss Mando Mayhem 1 at Eastview, including the Toronto Slush at the beaches, the only one that wasn't named Miss Mando Mayhem, and then of course 3, 4, and 5. We are now at a grand total of $9,310 raised to various charities, and we have had a total of 360 participants across the 5 events. Absolutely incredible, averaging almost $2,000 a tournament fundraised, which is just absolutely amazing. So big thank you to everybody that came out and opened their wallets and bought plenty of mulligans and bought into the 50-50 and the raffle and everything we were doing. Your generosity is incredible. And like Sean was saying, this one was for the Little Heisers program. So definitely going to a great program, getting youngsters introduced to the sport. So yeah, I don't really have much to add for that. Just an awesome day. Everybody that came by Tournament Central, I was hanging out in there. Maybe had some things to say about some of the holes and the way that they were playing, but regardless, we're still smiling, laughing, embracing the silliness of it all, which is the point. It's all about getting out there, having fun, doing some ridiculous shots, and Tobin and Oz need to stop shooting under par at these events, or Shawnee G is just going to keep making it tougher and tougher and tougher for everybody else. I wish I could, I guess probably could go back and find some of the scores, but I'm going to assume that plus 109 is a record high score for any Mando event, and a scoring spread of -3 for the best score to plus 109 for the, I won't say worst score, I'll say most throws. Most throws, most fun. That is quite the spread. It just leans into the silliness of all this stuff that we do. So keep your eye out for the next one, and can't wait to get there.
One of the things that I liked hearing was that on the new Mayhem feature, the archipelago, the series of increasingly smaller islands, that is such a successful hole because it's so ridiculous. What I loved was that on Oz and Tobin's card, the 2 teams burned through 12 mulligans on that hole alone, and in the end, they both managed to take a 4 on that hole. So solid. They used their mulligans well. And also we debuted the golden mulligan at this event, which was you could phone the TD if you were out of mulligans and say, I need one more $20 mulligan, one last chance. And that was used by Chris Brown and Colleen McInnes. So listen, everything was a huge success. Can't wait to inflict it upon other people at the next one, which might be this summer.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Definitely very hopeful for that. If we can make it happen, it will be a very big success. Misa thinks. And yeah, not much to add. Just thank you once again to everybody that came out, and of course the Escape Maze crew for letting us crash their course. Also, just I got to kind of walk around a little more inside the actual like Escape Maze place. I didn't see inside any of the escape mazes, but saw like the doors that lead into them, and they got a bunch in there. They do a lot of other cool things as well. I know Shawnee G, you went out there for a D&D night one time. So if you're near or far and aren't against making a drive, there's not only disc golf out there, but a lot of other things that you can do. So go out and check out the Escape Maze property out near Peterborough. All right, Shawnee G, moving on to our next tournament. We are going to head to Brantford, Ontario for the Winter Farms Spring Frenzy, which saw 72 players across 7 divisions out battling the 2 courses on the Winter Farms property, the Long Bomber and the Winding Woods. MPO was the only pro division in the event, and in round 1, Spencer Kersey's had the cleanest card in the division with only 1 bogey en route to a 10-11 rated -5 and a 9-stroke lead over Marc-Andre Comtois. While in the final round, James Atkinson, new friend of the show, James Atkinson, had the hot round with a 992 rated -3 to make up a bunch of ground, but he'd settle for second place as Spencer, his lead was too much to overcome, and he would take down the win by 5 strokes, with Marc-Andre rounding out the podium in third. Over in MA1, Ryan Clutton shot a 977 rated -1 in the first round to take a 2-stroke lead over Chris Kotick and Brian Enns. But in the final round, it was George Reddycop who shot the only round under par in the division, a 983 rated -2 to pull off the come-from-behind win over Brian in second, and Rio Sewell completes the podium, finishing in third. Shawnee G, let's throw it over to you for any of your thoughts, one-stroke wins, and the like that you got from this tournament.
Galen wrote this script as well, so here we go. Quick shout-outs to James Atkinson for second place in MPO, and Mike Sorgel, my arch nemesis from Scarlet Woods, for second in MA50. I was on daddy duty all weekend, but wish I could have played. My first ever tournaments were at Winter Farm, so I always have a super fond memory of that course. My actual first tournament was there as well, back when they had the True North series. I think I played a tournament there maybe 3 months after I first threw a disc, and it was in the pouring rain. Had a blast. It was super fun. There were
3 for 3 on co-host playing their first tournament rounds at Winter Farms. What? No, okay. That course wasn't even around when I played my first tournament round. I just felt left out.
Well, we do try to leave you out, and we're also leaving out aces this one because there were no aces at Winter Farm. But there were some one-stroke wins. We had Rizalina Ganillo beat Kellen Hodgins in a playoff in MA40. We had MA2 with Evan Yantha beating Brandon Hickey by a stroke. MA3 saw Alan Chevrier beating Lyndon Hancock by a stroke. And in MJ15, the juniors had a playoff. Malachi Jagd beat Max Quevenhoven in a playoff. So that was super, super cool there.
Good job on the name pronunciation there without reading the name beforehand. That's
not even remotely sure
if
that's correct.
I thought you were pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. So if Shawnee G got it wrong, you can of course sound off in the comments, and he won't change. It's just it's Shawnee G being Shawnee G. That's just the way it is. All right. Well, that was a quick one to get through, but we are not done yet. There is one more event to recap. And if you were listening to our last episode of the show with Alyssa Saunders, you'll know which one this is. Shawnee G, let's go over to you.
Next, we head to Niagara Falls for the Melted Fairway Classic. This is Alyssa Saunders, friend of the show, Alyssa Saunders TD Academy event that we talked about in the last episode with her on the pod. And the tournament saw a very full field of 76 players across 14 divisions. In FPO, Colleen McInnes shot a 960 rated -6 in the first round to take a 4-stroke lead over Taylor Quigley. And in round 2, both players shot even par to give Colleen the win, her 3rd win in 3 events so far this season, and the 61st win of her career. Over in MPO, Cam Zanini got off to a hot start with a 1020 rated -11 to take a 2-stroke lead over James Atkinson into the final round, where Cam was able to be even better, shooting a 1032 rated -12, which included a streak of 8 straight birdies en route to a 5-stroke win over James, with Chris Brown and Spencer Young finishing tied for 3rd. Do not take on Cam at his home course. In the top AM divisions, Sarah Skates and Ulavan Meister were tied for the lead in FA1 after the first round, shooting 865 rated +2 rounds for a 2-stroke lead over Tamara Siwak. But in the second round, Tamara, or is it Tamara? I don't know, was able to shoot the hot round with an 841 rated +4 to send things to a playoff, where after an epic 6-hole battle, it was Uliavan who took down the win, their first of the season. Well done there. Meanwhile, in MA1, Paul Fenney shot a 984 rated -8 in the first round to take a 4-stroke lead over Thomas Raper into the final round, where Chris Kotick, friend of the show, was battling for a comeback, tying for the hot round with a 948 rated -5. But in the end, Paul was able to secure a 2-stroke victory, his first win in MA1. It was a lot of fun out there. I was playing in MPO, where of course I finished last. I had a great time. Played with Chris Brown and Spencer on my first round, and then got to play on a card with Colleen and Taylor in the second round. It was great. Had a fantastic time. Robbie, any thoughts from you?
And those are 2 incredible cards to get on for your tournament play there, Shawnee G. Definitely can't have any complaints with those card mates. And just like we've had for the other events, I got a little section here written by none other than Galen Naidu-Harris. And we'll jump into that. You can just picture Galen's face on my face right now. Shout out to James for another super duper strong second in MPO. He didn't have duper in there. I added that, just a little Robbie flair. To Colleen McInnes for first in FPO. To Paul Fenney, who I have been terrorizing for years to move up divisions, for winning ! MA1, and to Chris Kotick and Mike Pelly for rounding out the podium. Also to Tam Siwick for second in FA1, Lynn Nguyen for first FA40, Paul Dipp for a dominant first in MA50, winning by 8 strokes, Johnny Mack from Bronte for first in MA60, and Jess Durzak for crushing FA3 with a 17-stroke lead. Awesome job there, Galen. I hope I did you proud by giving your shout outs for you. You can thank me later. Also, take Shawnee G's spot here in this recap. There was an ace. Callum Robertson's very first throw of the tournament found the chains and ace on hole 13 reds. Amazing job there. And we've got some one-stroke wins as well. Of course, FA1, Ulavan Meister beats Tamara Siwek in a six-hole playoff. Incredible battle. In MA2, Kevin Riches beats Merrick Sawicki in a 3-hole playoff. In FA2, Catherine May beat Jasmine Phillips in a 1-hole playoff. So many playoffs out of this event. Wow. And in MA3, backed by his ace, Callum Robertson beats Jordy Yak by 1 stroke in MA3. Amazing job out there for everybody. I unfortunately had to miss this one, but I will definitely try and make it out if they have. I believe the Greater Niagara Fall Classic is going to be held there later in the year, and I will definitely be trying to make it out to that because Fireman's Park is a very underrated course and super fun, especially when you're out there without like 76 different Mando signs, which is how the course was looking the last time I saw it for Miss Mando Mayhem 4. So can't wait to get back out there, and good job, everybody that was out there competing. We have a couple of final tournaments to recap. Unsanctioned winter format club v club events that I mentioned earlier, GTA Cup and SWO Cup. Shawnee G, let's start with you in the GTA Cup.
Team Edge, which is classically Centennial, the Edge being the Etobicoke Disc Golf Experience, took Toronto Island to a playoff for, I believe, the very first time in GTA Cup history. It went to only a 1-hole playoff out at White Spruce, and I watched the live stream. Thank you, friend of the show, Chris Brown. Hole 1. One shot went over here, one shot went over there. It came down to putts. Thomas Gilbert, friend of the show, had a little bit of a tester, and unfortunately wasn't able to connect. And it came down to Calvin Ruerda, champion of the East End Putting League. And it was like a 15, 18-footer, and there is no way Calvin's going to miss that shot. So well done, Calvin, for taking it down for Team Edge for, I believe, their third championship GTA Cup win. Well done, well done. Bronte and White Spruce were a very close 3rd and 4th place, respectively. Coming into the event, I think there was only 3 or 5 points separating 1st from 4th. So it was anyone's event. And in the end, Team Edge took it down. Well done, everyone there.
Definitely well done. And yeah, it was awesome that somebody had a live stream going of that playoff. That was fun to check out. And I believe on the exact same day that the GTA Cup finals were going down at White Spruce, the SWO Cup, SWO Cup, finals were going down at Mohawk Park in Brantford. This SWO Cup is made up of clubs from Guelph, Grand River, Christie Lake, and Brantford. And it was supposed to be at Rudy Woods with Grand River hosting it. But unfortunately, the river that runs through that course broke its banks, and the entire course is basically flooded. So we switched it up to Mohawk Park in Brantford for the second time. Guelph went into the event with, I believe it was a 3-stroke lead over Grand River in 2nd place. And I think it was only 5 or 6 points between 1st and 4th as well. So a close battle throughout. And through the first 4 rounds of doubles, I believe it was Grand River that made up a point, and we're only trailing by 2 points going into the singles. But then the Guelph crew showed up for these singles. I know I won my match in singles. My buddy Corey Hunter, I believe, did. There's definitely going to be some people that I am forgetting off the top of my head. Ryan McFarlane, I believe, took down a win. But yeah, we absolutely slammed the door shut in singles. And I don't know what the final tally was, but I do know that in the end, it was Guelph taking it down. The very first time Guelph has won the SWO Cup. So incredibly happy for everybody that was there from Guelph. I don't do my best job of making it out for all of them, but I do remember playing for Guelph the first year they were in the SWO Cup. So to see how that club has grown, I mean, league nights in Guelph are insane now. So just super happy for everybody in the Guelph club and everybody that was out competing. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful weather. I came very close to changing into shorts by the time the afternoon was rolling around, because it was full sunshine and just like the perfect temperature. So an absolute gorgeous day and incredibly fun. I love these format style events, club v club, doubles, match play, kind of like the President's Cup. The President's Cup is what it's called in disc golf, right? Yeah. And then the ball golf has the Ryder Cup and one other, I believe. But I like those team style events. It's just with disc golf, everything is usually just, one-on-one. It's you versus the course, you versus your opponents. So getting some team aspect in there is always a blast. So can't wait for next year already for SWO. Going to be back with Guelph as always. I know people are always like, you live in Kitchener. Why are you playing on Guelph? Because that's where I started. That's my home club. And I will be back with them next year looking to defend the title. That's going to do it for our local tournament recaps. And we do have some very, very quick Pro Tour recaps to get into, starting with the Queen City Classic, which saw an incredible FPO finish down the stretch. Jessica Gerthy, formerly Jessica Weiss, takes down a one-stroke win over Owen Scoggins with Holland Hanley and Anakin Sten and Kat Murch all tied for third at 9 under. I believe I should have had this right up in front of me, but I believe it was like 8 years since Jessica had won her last Elite Series event. This is now gives her 3 in her career. She's won Ledgestone, and I forget the other, but I know the last one that she won was Ledgestone, and I think it was like 2018 Ledgestone. So it's been a while for her. And she had an emotional moment after the round as well, talking about, I'm not sure if it was announced beforehand, but she had told the crowd that her and Garrett had a miscarriage over the off season. Obviously, an incredible, emotional and tough time for them. And then for her to come back and take down her first Elite Series win in 8 years after going through that this offseason, just incredible. Watching her victory speech afterwards, I was getting close to having some tears in my eyes. I was getting choked up seeing how emotional she was, and just somebody that's been around. Like, I started watching pro disc golf in 2016, 2017, and she was around back then. She was one of the big FPO players that I was constantly seeing on coverage, and to see her back on the top of a podium again is just so awesome to see. So big shout out to Jessica Gerthy there. And over on the MPO side, it was a much less interesting battle down the stretch, with big shocker Gannon Burr taking down the win by 4 strokes over Raven Newsom, getting and Evan Smith tied for second place. I believe that is both of their highest Elite Series finish of both of their careers. Super awesome there. And not much really to add for MPO. Gannon was leading. Actually, he wasn't. After round 1, Casey White and Evan Smith were tied for the lead. Gannon was only 1 stroke back. And then at the end of round 2, Gannon was up by 3, and it was curtains from there, basically. Gannon actually took a triple bogey on hole 16 in the final round to make the scoreboard a little more respectable. instead of winning by 7, he only wins by 4, but still a dominant performance from Gannon nonetheless. It was kind of a probably not helped by the fact that Champions Cup was a weekend after, or 2 weekends after. So Champions Cup is the most fresh on my mind, so I already kind of forget about the Queen City Classic. So not much else to go off of there. Shawnee G, let's throw it over to you for any of your thoughts. I know there was an ace out there.
There was, and speaking of Jessica Gerthy, not only did she take down the win, she took down the ace on hole 2, a nice 231-foot shot. Absolutely love Pro Tour aces. They're so sick to see. Kind of would think they might happen more often than they do, but they do happen pretty regularly.
Yeah, super awesome. Gotta love when, an ace and then a 1-stroke win as well. So that ace was absolutely crucial in helping you get the dub. So absolutely love to see that. And like I mentioned, Champions Cup just happened as well. That is obviously the event that is most fresh in our minds right now. And it was pretty exciting on both sides of the field. Starting in FPO, Hannah Blomroos had a 4-stroke lead going into the final round, and through 3 holes, that lead was gone. While Silva went 3 under in the first 3 holes, compared to Henna going 1 over in that stretch. Just gave the lead up away right away. But I will say this was not a typical, Henna Blomroos, just completely falling back down to earth. She kept it. She bounced back after that. She rattled off 3 straight birdies on 6, 7, and 8. Didn't bogey a hole the rest of the way after her bogey on 5. Just played super, super solid. Absolutely pulled away from third place Holland Hanley, who Henna beat by 7 strokes. But unfortunately for Henna, Silva Saarinen was in the field, and the course record on this property going into the round was a neg 7. Silva was neg 8 through 10 holes. Through 10 holes, she had already was on pace and had technically already beaten the course record. Absolutely insane. And now she would cool off a bit going even par through the last 8 holes, but in the end still sets the course record, a 1031 rated final round to take down the win by 1 stroke. She was able to just play the final hole for par. Henna had like a 60, maybe even further C2 putt to potentially send things into a playoff, but left it a million feet short somehow. I was thinking actually that Henna hadn't hit a C2 putt in the entire tournament, and I was kind of thinking like she should there's so much room between her and third place that she can just blast this. Just try and throw it in. And even if you go OB long, you just take rethrow from where you were, lay up under the basket, tap in for second place. She had so many strokes to go between her and third. It wasn't going to drop her down the leaderboard by doing that, but I think would have had a better chance of her making it there to send to the playoff. But regardless, Silva Saarinen takes down the win, her second major win now, I believe. And just incredible performance. 1031 rated in the final round. Insane. And Henna actually averaged 1,005 for the event. Averaging over 1,000 for an event in FPO more often than not will get you the win in that event. But unfortunately for Henna, she was in the same field as Silva Saarinen in this one, and she took it down. I will say, definitely got a little bit more confidence in Henna after seeing that. She putted, still had some bad misses. She missed one that was like just outside the bullseye at one point that would have been a birdie. and would have tied things up. But definitely the way that she throws the disc is so mind-bogglingly good that if she can just get medium putting, she will take down a major at some point in her career. I have no doubt. Over on the MPO side, going into the final round, it was a tie at the top between Anthony Barella and Nicholas Antala, with Gannon Burr and Ricky Wysocki tied for third, 3 strokes back of the lead. And it got off to a great start for Nicholas early. He took 3 strokes on AB on the first hole, taking a birdie to AB's double bogey. And from there was kind of able to just keep it steady the rest of the way. He had 1 bogey on hole 14, didn't really have any birdie streaks. It was picking away at birdies when he got them. And he wrote that to a 1-stroke win. He was able to play the last hole for par, as he went into the final hole with a 2-stroke lead over Gannon. Gannon gets the birdie on 18 to make it a 1-stroke win, but a win nonetheless for Nicholas. His first major win of his career after being so close a few times already in his career. He had that epic battle with Gannon at USDGC a couple years ago when Gannon hit that insane huge putt on hole 17 to take the 1-stroke win there. This is also the first MPO major winner from Finland, the first MPO major winner from Europe, anywhere in Europe, since Jesper Lundmark, and I believe it was the 2008 European Open. I could be wrong on the year, but I know it was European Open, and I know it was Jesper Lundmark who won it. So it has been a long time for a not only a European man, but a Finnish man to stand on the top of a podium at a PDGA major. Huge. And I just love Nicholas Antala so much. He is so well-spoken. Seems like the nicest guy in the world too. And hearing him in the victory speech afterwards was really awesome. He gave a shout out in Finnish, which somebody eventually posted up with the translation on it, and I love seeing that stuff, and so happy for Nicholas as somebody that's been there, been close so many times, for him to get the win. And it was funny in his victory speech. He said he's just really happy to be able to at least get one win over Gannon right now, because he seems so unbeatable. Gannon so far hasn't finished lower than second this season. Absolutely insane. But it is going to have to be second for him at Champions Cup as Nicholas Antala takes it down. Johnny G, let's throw over to you for some of your thoughts coming out of Champions Cup.
First, congrats to Danny Hart in FPO for getting the ace on hole 2 in round 2, a nice little 312-foot shot. And then, not to be outdone in round 2, Silas Scholes, fresh off his MVP sponsorship, nails a huge 449-foot ace on hole 8. Again, as I was saying before, love the Pro Tour aces, so good. And I don't know if there's video for either one. I don't recall seeing it, but hopefully it's out there, because those are going to be awesome. I want to give shout outs, of course, to Team Canada, the Canadian Air Force down there. We got Sophia Dunica coming in at 15th place. Nice cash for her. Chantel Badinsky playing her first 2026 Pro Tour event and her first with an open bag. She finished tied for 30th. And then Rebecca Dawn coming in tied for 36th. Unfortunately, Chantel and Rebecca finished outside of cash, but that's okay. It's a long season. Let's keep going and get that money. Also, wanted to give how great the FPO division was to watch. You had the 1-stroke win with Silver Saarinen over Henna. That was an incredible round. And again, Silva's front 9 was, like, really front 10, was one of the best, stretches of FPO disc golf that has ever been played. Like, absolutely insane how good that was. Loved seeing how many Euros were in the top 10 in FPO. You had Silva, you had Henna. Coming in fifth, you have truly I think the future of FPO disc golf with Ida Letamaki. She absolutely scorched it. Fantastic. We have top pick of Galen Naidu-Harris at the European Disc Golf Festival 2025. Cynthia Klesberga, who truly made a name for herself on the bronze medal team at the World Games for Team Latvia when they took down the team of Silver Lat and what's her name? Kristen Lat. Truly, if this is the performance that we can expect from her, I was like, I'm sorry, I was not familiar with your game. Really, really fantastic play there. And then, of course, also tied for sixth, we had Evelina Salonen. So we had 5 players in the top 5 from Europe, or in the top 10 from Europe, and that is fantastic. What is this, Robbie?
You're not the first person to say Cynthia was on that Latvian team. Cynthia. I saw a comment, I guess a little plug for another podcast, The Upshot, another great disc golf podcast. They had said the same thing, and then I saw a comment on Spotify that said, a little correction, it was a different Latvian woman on that team. It wasn't her on that World's Game team. So
never mind.
I did not fact check this myself. And like I said, you're not the first person to say that, because Charlie and Josh on The Upshot both also said the same thing. But according to that commenter, it was a different Latvian woman that was on that team. So not sure who's right, who's wrong. But yeah, just wanted to throw that in.
Well, we are probably not right, because this is Miss Mando, the lowest effort podcast on the sport that you can find. Either way, well done, Cynthia Klesberga, who famously came into the European Disc Golf Festival last year as the lowest rated player in the division. So, of course, was Galen's top pick, and ended up coming in first after round 1, shocking the world. She is a fantastic disc golfer, and I hope to see more of her playing in the U.S. on more of the tour in this year and in coming years, because I think she's very much a bright spot. And very cool to see a different flag on the leaderboard. Love to see that.
Yeah, absolutely love to see that. That is something that we definitely see more in FPO than we do in MPO, and just love to see the diversity. And I was trying to see if I could find a team list, but I cannot right now, unless maybe this is it. Oh, yep. Yeah, so it was a different player on that Latvian team. It was Elizabeth Peksena was the woman on that Latvian team. So I mean, shout out to Latvia, I guess. Geez, we got a top 10 finish here at Champions Cup. They took down the bronze medal at the World Games last year. So shout out to Latvian disc golf, I guess. And I will never be able to see her name and just not think of Galen. It was a hilarious bit that we were doing, giving Galen the lowest rated player in both divisions when he wasn't here to make his picks himself. And most of them, as with their rating, were finishing near the bottom. But just that one time, the lowest rated player in the field had the round 1 lead, and that would have thrown an absolute wrench in our picks if she was able to take it down. But huge shout out for a awesome performance here at Champions Cup. Next event up is going to be starting tomorrow. When you're listening to this today on Thursday the 16th, it's starting tomorrow on the 17th. Jonesboro Open, back on the Pro Tour this year after being off of it last year. It was an A tier last year, not a full Pro Tour, back as a Pro Tour this year. Some Canadians in the field. We got Thomas Gilbert playing his first tour event of the year, And Sophia Dunica and Rebecca Dawn will be there in the FPO division as well. Anything else you're looking forward to at a Jonesboro, Shiny G?
Noted, Owen Scoggins and Paige Pierce are taking the week off, so that opens up some real interesting potential. We still have, I believe, Cynthia Klesberga and Ida Letamaki playing this event. So who knows? Maybe we'll see some even higher ranked Euros on in the division. So I guess it can't really get higher than first and second, but maybe we'll have some new names up at the top of the leaderboard, which would be super sick to see.
I think that Ida Letamaki is going to do very, very well this weekend. As you mentioned in the Champions Cup, one of the future stars of disc golf in the FPO field, still being, 15 years old? Something like that. Almost won a world title last year, going into a playoff against Own the Scoggins. Just incredibly talented. She's got to be one of the farthest throwers in the FPO division. And she is a literal child. So incredible to see. And if I'm remembering correctly, Jonesboro definitely, you can have an advantage out there with a big arm. So I think Ida is going to do great out there this weekend. And with that, that's going to do it for this episode of Missed Mando. Good luck to everybody out there at upcoming tournaments. And locally, we've got Stones Throw and P15 coming up this weekend. Five Sisters Classic and USDGC qualifiers. Next weekend, I believe, the Trigg Memorial at Screaming Heads. A little side note on the way out of here. I played that event once. If you ever have the chance to play disc golf at Screaming Heads, you absolutely must. It is not a sanctioned event that they host up there, but it is the most unique property you will ever be on, with these giant stone structures that look like Screaming Heads is what it is. These two eye holes, a big mouth hole, and there's like wooden hands stone hands sticking out of the ground. A bunch of cool structures, big metal structures out there too that you're playing through. It's extremely unique. So if you ever have the chance to make it out to Screaming Heads, I 100% recommend it. And that is finally going to do it for us here on Missed Mando. For Sean Galbraith, I am Robbie Holden. This has been a long episode. I hope you all enjoyed. And until the next one, we'll see you on the course.